Welcome to BBC News, broadcasting to viewers in North America and around the globe. I'm Regid Ahmed. Our top stories. An act of terrorism against New York City, but the motivation remains unclear.
This was a very serious incident. It's going to take a lot of careful investigation to get to the facts and get to the truth.
We have a special report from Iraq on the final preparations to retake the city of Mosul from so-called IS. As airstrikes continue, the US Secretary of State tells the BBC that Russia and Syria must get aid through and abide by the terms of the fragile ceasefire. And after hundreds of events and 11 days of competitions, the Rio Paralympics closes with a spectacular show and a tribute to the Iranian cyclist who died in a road race. Hello and welcome. Investigators in New York are sifting through evidence to find out who planted a bomb that exploded in Manhattan on Saturday night. The authorities have called what happened an act of terrorism, but are ruling out a link to international extremist groups. Security has been heightened in the city. An extra 1,000 police officers are being deployed. The blast took place in the district of Chelsea. All 29 people injured in the explosion have now been released from hospital. Our New York correspondent Nick Bryant has this report. Nick Bryant there in New York. Well, the FBI is examining claims by the Islamic State group that one of its supporters carried out a knife attack in the US state of Minnesota on Saturday. A man in a security uniform stabbed 9 people before he was shot dead by an off-duty police officer. None of the victims suffered life-threatening injuries. The fight to free Iraq's second largest city from so-called Islamic State will begin within the month, according to one of the senior British officers there. Mosul has been in the hands of IS for the last 2 years, and our Middle East correspondent Quinton Somerville has been witnessing final preparations for the assault on the city. Well, 6 days after the start of a fragile truce in Syria, airstrikes are reported to have targeted anti-government rebel groups in Aleppo. The deal agreed by the United States and Russia is also being threatened by tensions over a US-backed strike that killed more than 60 Syrian troops. Washington says it regrets the unintentional loss of life, and the incident has led to an astonishing war of words between diplomats at the United Nations. Our diplomatic correspondent James Robbins reports from there. The US Secretary of State John Kerry has told the BBC that Russia needs to be more serious about getting the Syrian government to abide by the terms of the ceasefire. Speaking to the BBC's Catty Kay, Mr Kerry was asked to what extent the US military would be responsible if the ceasefire didn't hold. US Secretary of State John Kerry there speaking to the BBC about the Syrian ceasefire. We'll stay with BBC News, still to come. As the investigation into New York's bomb blast progresses, we have more on what the attack means for Homeland Security. This is BBC News. I'm Regid Ahmed. The latest headlines. A bomb attack in New York City was a terrorist act, but no links have been found to global groups and the motivation remains unclear. American and Iraqi military are making their final preparations to retake the city of Mosul from IS. More now on our top story, the explosion in Manhattan on Saturday night. Well, Michael Scheuer spent 22 years with the CIA and is now a professor of security studies at Georgetown University in Washington. He told me forensic evidence on the unexploded device could lead the police to whoever planted it.
Any kind of the container or the explosive or the timer, if you get pieces of that, you can start to look for places where they're sold and to see who they were bought by at times. And the tannerite is, as far as I can tell at least, is a explosive made from aluminum nitrate and aluminum powder, much like an IRA bomb or a bomb in the Middle East. And it's detonated supposedly by a shot from a high-powered rifle.
It is extraordinary how much detail investigators can get, and that these details will help them find perhaps who put these explosives in New York.
It may well help them, and then you'll be able to close this particular case, I guess. But I don't know where that leaves us except to wait for the next one.
Michael, what do you think police should be doing in the wake of this attack?
Well, you know, it's very hard we have both enormous numbers of illegal immigrants in this country and apparently an increasing number of American-born citizens who are adopting the outlook of the Islamic State or other Islamist groups. And it's very hard to cover either one of them. The first group you can't identify. The second group is protected by civil liberties. So we're almost in a position that we can move after an attack occurs, but not before.
Can we say that there's a problem with homegrown terrorism in the United States, especially as we hear about several attacks going on quite regularly in the US that perhaps have nothing to do with terrorism?
Well, there is going to be a huge problem. I think we're a little bit behind Europe, but not far behind. We have continued as a country, and as has Europe and its countries, intervening in the Muslim world, and we continue to motivate the enemy, whether they're homegrown, American-born or British-born, or whether they're immigrants. So this problem is going to be a never-ending one until we smarten up a little.
Michael Scheuer, their former CIA intelligence officer. Well, early results in Russian parliamentary elections are pointing to victory for Vladimir Putin's ruling party. Exit polls suggest United Russia is on course to win an absolute majority in the Duma, or lower house. But there have been reports of violations in voting stations, and turnout is low. Steve Rosenberg reports from Moscow. The 2016 Paralympic Games have officially closed. The closing ceremony has just wrapped up in Rio de Janeiro. Thousands of people crowded into the Maracanã Stadium and were treated to an exuberant display of music and dance involving both able and disabled artists. Well, amid the festivity, tribute was paid to the Iranian cyclist who died on Saturday during a race. The Paralympic flag was handed from the mayor of Rio de Janeiro to the governor of Tokyo, and the crowd got a taste of what Tokyo 2020 might promise. Well, despite rain beginning to pour down towards the end, the crowd partied on. Perhaps one reason the president of the International Paralympic Committee announced that he would give the people of Rio the Paralympic Order Award, the highest honour they could receive for their outstanding support of the Paralympic Games. Well, let's take a look back at how the Games went and the legacy it leaves in Brazil. Now, some sad news for those Sound of Music fans. The American actress Charmaine Carr, best known for playing the eldest Von Trapp daughter, Liesl, in the 1965 film, has died. She was 73. Her starring moment came with her performance of the song 16 Going on 17 in the movie. Well, 20th Century Fox said the Sound of Music had lost a beloved member of the family. Kim Carruth, who played the youngest Gretel in the film, said she's been like a sister throughout my life. And actress Mia Farrow said, "Rest in peace, Charmaine Carr, radiant Liesl in the Sound of Music." That's some sad news there. Well, that's it for now, but you can get in touch with me and the team on Twitter. I'm @Rachel Ahmed. See you soon.
Hello, we have a week